You probably know the Seiko Presage. It's a big brand with solid specs, good looks, and for a lot of people looking for a dress watch, that's enough. But what if I told you a smaller British brand has built something slimmer, tougher, and maybe even better looking, all for less money? This is the Pompeak Gentleman's Classic in British Racing Green. It's got a slim case, a guilloché dial, an open heart movement, and I wore it solidly for 2 weeks, including a full business trip to Germany. So today, we're going to find out if this is just another alternative, or if it really could be the British Seiko Killer. Hi, I'm Dave, and this is Microbrand Watch, the channel where we dive into the best independent watchmakers and figure out whether their pieces really deliver. Now, full disclosure here, Pompeak did send this watch over for me to try, but the impressions are all my own. I've got to send the watch back. There are no sponsorships, no preloaded scripts, just what I found after wearing it for a couple of weeks. So let's talk about Pompeak as a brand. So Pompeak is a British micro brand started in 2017 by two brothers, Dave and Noah Pomfrey. And the Gentleman's Classic, this guy, is their flagship line. I've got the racing green, but it also comes in navy, black, and even a smoked red limited edition. But the DNA across all models is the same. It's a slim stainless steel case, a guilloché dial, and a lovely open heart movement. At 40 millimeters across and just over 10 mil thick, the case really hits that sweet spot for a versatile daily wearer. On that Germany trip, I wore it everywhere, right? And it just worked in every single setting. The crown, though, is where I've got a slight niggle. It's a little bit small and slightly tucked in behind the guards. It's not the easiest to wind for my fat fingers. But to be fair, once it's set, it does disappear into the design nicely. But the next question, as ever with a watch like this, what about the dial? Well, this is where the watch really comes alive. We all know that British Racing Green is a colour with heritage, and here it's given real depth. That guilloché texture just dances in the light, and the fumé fade at the edges adds an awful lot of richness. Up close, it looks way more expensive than the price tag suggests, and on the wrist, it's got that rare combination of elegance and presence that just makes you keep glancing back at it when you don't realize. But a watch is much more than just its face, right? It's much more than just the dial. And how it wears often comes down to the bracelet. And in this case, the bracelet's well made, it's got solid links, smooth finishing, and a good weight that balances well with the case. However, the clasp is a butterfly style, and you know me, I don't like butterfly style clasps. They look sleek, but they often don't have micro adjustments, which in this case certainly meant that I couldn't quite get the perfect fit. It's not a deal breaker, but it's one of those little details that holds back what could have otherwise been a really excellent bracelet. But what's inside of this guy? Well, let's flip it over and talk a little bit about the movement. So powering the watch is the Miyota 82S5 movement. It's reliable, it's got a 42-hour power reserve, and you can see it beautifully through the exhibition caseback. We've also got BGW9 Lume on the hands and indices. They're not diver bright, right? But they're more than enough for a dress watch for those late night checks. But where the Pompeak really surprises is with regards to water resistance. We've got 100 meters of water resistance here, and for a dressy open heart like this, that's a nice little benefit to have. Which naturally raises that question that I loaded right up front. How does this compare to the Seiko Presage? As I said, the Seiko Presage is an easy choice for a lot of people looking for a dress watch, but the Pompeak actually challenges it. At 10.4 mil thick, it's slimmer than the Presage, which is 12.5. From a water resistance perspective, Pompeak's giving you 100 meters and a screw down crown. Most of the Presage models have only got 30 meters, which is fine for the office maybe, but it's nowhere near as versatile. Seiko does have the edge on that bracelet refinement though. The clasp and the finishing are a little bit more polished in my opinion. But the Pompeak really strikes back with that racing green guilloché dial, which honestly holds its own at least against Seiko's textures. But then there's the price. Seiko's usually sit around $500 to $600, whereas this Pompeak comes in well under $500. For less money, you're getting slimmer proportions, stronger water resistance, and a dial that really stands out. If you enjoy discovering micro brands and want honest reviews without marketing spin, hit subscribe and join us. There's plenty more coming. But of course, all the specs in the world only matter if it actually wears well. And in daily use, this one wears really well and impressed me massively. Even on the full steel bracelet, it's got great balance. It's solid enough to feel well built, but never heavy. Once I got it sized and on the wrist, it just disappeared, right? I wore it through those long days in the airports, in meetings and in dinners, and it just stayed comfortable the whole time. And then every so often, the light would catch that racing green dial, and it reminded me why this watch stands out. It's got that touch of refined British elegance that makes it feel at home in almost any setting. So, what stood out to me the most with this watch? Well, first, the dial. As I said, it's absolutely stunning. The depth, the texture, the way that that green shifts in the light, it really does feel like it belongs on a watch at least twice this price, if not more. The case proportions are also spot on. We've got 40 millimeters wide and just over 10 mil thick, so it wears exactly how a versatile daily should do. And the bracelet itself feels solid and well put together, which adds to that sense of quality. So here's where I've landed. The Pompeak Gentleman's Classic gets a lot right. It's slim, it's versatile, it's got sapphire crystal, it's got 100 meters of water resistance. And that dial, honestly, it looks like it belongs on a much, much more expensive watch. Yes, the clasp could be better, and the crown isn't the most practical, but those details don't take away from the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this. The Seiko Presage might be an easy choice because of the big brand, the solid specs, and the good looks, but the Pompeak Gentleman's Classic, that's the smarter choice. It's slimmer, tougher, and it's got a dial that really punches above its price. At under $500, I think it may well be the British Seiko Killer. And look, this is proof that you don't need a big logo on the dial to get serious value. And that's exactly why brands like Pompeak are worth paying attention to. And on that basis, hopefully today we've introduced you to another micro brand that you're going to want to watch. Until next time, enjoy your watches.